Welcome everyone to the first of our Kentucky Innovation Hub's quarterly updates. This webinar is presented to you by Kentucky Innovation within the Cabinet for Economic Development, as well as KSTC, the Kentucky Science and Technology Corporation. My name is Lisa Bajornis, and on behalf of both organizations, I want to thank everyone for attending today's webinar and this update from our 6 innovation hubs across the state. I'm going to just ask our speakers, as you may need a slide advance, just indicate that verbally and Megan will advance the slides for us. And with that, we're going to jump right into the update. And I'm going to start with Tony Ellis, who is Executive Director of Kentucky Innovation. Tony?
Good morning, and thank you, Lisa, and thank you everyone for joining us for our first quarterly Hubs update. We have a packed agenda this morning, but we wanted to provide a brief introduction about who we are and why we are holding these meetings. As Lisa noted, my name is Anthony Ellis, and I am the Executive Director of KY Innovation. KY Innovation is a division within the Kentucky Cabinet for Economic Development that is responsible for leading and funding our entrepreneurial support efforts and coordinating our state strategy across our different public-private partners. Like our host today, the Kentucky Science and Technology Corporation. KSTC has been the state's primary partner for entrepreneurial support programs for the past 2 decades. While KSTC has won many national awards for its work, 2 years ago, we presented KSTC with a significant ask. Help us build Kentucky into a top destination for entrepreneurs and investment for the next generation. This has required rethinking of many of our core programs to make them more efficient, work more collaboratively, and to develop clear goals and metrics that would allow us to track our successes and our areas where we can improve. We are proud to see the KSTC has answered the call. This presentation is yet another step in those efforts. In January of 2021, we provided the first KY Innovation public update in many years and outlined our strategic plan. We noted that there had never been a better time to start or grow a business in Kentucky, and we were and are extremely bullish on Kentucky's opportunities for growth as technologies and other factors drive an innovation and investment renaissance across the Midwest. Today, I am excited to say that this year has seen those remarkable results. That might be surprising given the pandemic, but Kentucky has set records for the greatest economic year in history, and we are seeing growth and energy in every sector and every part of the state. Ford and SK are making the largest investment in Kentucky history and making Kentucky a central location for the global battery and electric vehicle market. We saw significant new investments from other national and international companies like Pratt Industries, Kruger, Tyson Foods, Wieland, Ball Corp, Nucor, Novellus, Crown, and many, many more. And there were significant reinvestments from longstanding Kentucky companies such as GE, Toyota, Firestone, Fidelity, and Amazon. And bourbon, as always, continues to thrive in Kentucky, with record growth expected now that the tariffs that were imposed on bourbon over the past few years have thankfully been lifted. Overall, last year we announced 18,000 new jobs and $11.2 billion in new investments into our state. The investments by these large businesses and industries in Kentucky provide incredible opportunities for collaboration and investment in our startup ecosystem. These large companies spin out the next generation of future entrepreneurs, bring talent to our state, and deliver needed investment dollars. We have already seen the possibilities of such collaboration with the Louisville Healthcare CEO Council, a collection of CEOs of our largest healthcare providers that banded together for a common purpose of driving healthcare innovation and collaboration. Kentucky's agritech cluster also continues to scale, with key partners like AppHarvest, Fresh Harvest, and others demonstrating the future opportunities for farming in controlled environments, something all the more necessary as we see record droughts. Both of these initiatives were recently awarded a Build Back Better grant from the federal government, representing 2 of only 60 grants given out this year. Kentucky continues to lead in innovation, and the federal government is recognizing this. We are already seeing other industries look to develop their own clusters following these successes. And Kentucky continues to win awards for its efforts to expand entrepreneurial opportunities across the state in our underserved and underrepresented communities. The governor often says that talent and ability are everywhere, but opportunity is limited. We are proud of the work we have done to expand our reach into rural and urban environments that were often overlooked, and to see success stories even in the short time frame emerge from these efforts. And we could not do this without the support of our logistics industry, who continues to work hard to get us the flights and opportunities we need to be successful. This year, we saw both CVG and SDF Muhammad Ali announce direct flights to Boston to complement their already expanding list of destinations. These airports are not only bringing us the tools to expand, but are directly supporting our entrepreneurial efforts. CVG, for example, is bringing new technologies into its campus like Thor Drive and autonomy, next generation autonomous vehicle areas that support our growing autonomous vehicle industry. Overall, we saw 51 companies get funded last year at least, and 15 companies raised more than $1 million. 7 companies had significant exits. Rubicon is a particularly great story, as it started in Kentucky and moved its headquarters to Atlanta. Last year, it relocated its headquarters back to Kentucky, and it's paving the way for responsible and sustainable waste practices right here. Recently, that company went public at a valuation of $2 billion. For anyone who says it cannot happen in Kentucky, there are billions of pieces of evidence that it can. We have also seen the launch of new programs and resources. The Kentucky Intellectual Property Alliance launched this year, and we were one of the first states to adopt such a program. We are now seeing our neighboring states, such as Ohio, launch their own alliances. And all of these efforts are designed to increase our awareness and effective use of intellectual property. We launched a redesigned website at kyinnovation.com, which continues to improve as a resource for Kentuckians to find key information. And we held our first public-private partnership reverse pitch competition with our bourbon industry partners looking for innovative solutions to the industry's surplus stillage problem. We launched a brand new microgrant program for companies to get needed cash to help them submit applications for federal research grants. And we have streamlined the investment process for entrepreneurs to get state funds in partnership with KSTC to make it more transparent and develop new tools and funds to make sure investments are available at each stage of the startup journey. While today's program is specifically an opportunity for our regional entrepreneurial hubs to share information about their incredible activities, we could not have such a strong and growing ecosystem without a dedicated group of private entities who continue to build resources and entrepreneurs throughout Kentucky. Please know that we are looking at ways to help expand our funding opportunities to bring these entities into the Kentucky Innovation Network. Now, there are 6 hubs across the state with collectively 12 to 13 offices. Each of them has a mission to work directly with startups and entrepreneurs, help them find the resources they need. And we do have lots of free or reduced cost resources and connect startups and entrepreneurs to our investor networks. And ultimately, to help us share the successes so that we can be great storytellers about all the things happening right here in Kentucky. We expect to have these updates quarterly. Now, before we dive into specifics, I want to give special recognition to 2 of our hubs for actions that really show the character of our Commonwealth and the people involved in these efforts. First, we need to give a big shout out to Sprocket and the Grow West Kentucky team, which is our Western Kentucky Regional Entrepreneurial Hub. This has been a very hard time for Western and Central Kentucky following the devastation caused by the West Kentucky tornado. Sprocket launched their brand new co-working space in early December, and immediately after the tornado, they used the space to help their fellow Kentuckians with places to work, places to charge their phones, and seminars like how to contract with FEMA. And a second big shout out to our Central Kentucky hub and Sam Ford, a member of our Bowling Green Regional Entrepreneurial Group. Following the devastation, Sam immediately jumped into action, launching Keep On Shining Kentucky, which continues to spread the word and raise funds for those horribly affected by the tragedy. Finally, I would encourage everyone to connect with KY Innovation and your regional hubs. These resources are there for you, the entrepreneurial community, to help you be successful. We regularly share on social media information about events, application deadlines, new free programs, grant opportunities, and other news relevant to your growth and business success. We encourage you to check these resources out and connect as often and as much as you want. And with that, I'm going to turn things over to Lisa Bajornis, who runs our Regional Hubs program.
Thanks so much, Tony. Megan, if you'll move to the next slide. I'd like to just briefly set for you the agenda. Each of our hub leaders will present a number of items for you. They'll talk about 3 of their primary key results and the impacts their startups that they have served, the number of startups they've connected to various resources, and the number of new businesses created in their region. Please keep in mind that this data that you'll be hearing is for 4th quarter of 2021. So this is 1 quarter's worth of information. They'll also talk about their 3 biggest startup wins in their region, which would be great content for any of our media partners here today. They'll talk about 1 event and highlight that from last quarter, and then give us a nice sneak preview into 1 upcoming event in this current quarter. And so kicking us off, moving to the next slide, Larry, if you'll unmute yourself, I'd like to introduce Larry Horn, who is Executive Director with Amplify Louisville and also represents in their region the University of Louisville. Larry?
Thanks, Lisa. Hello, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here with you today. Amplify, as Lisa said, I'm Larry Horn. I'm the Executive Director of Amplify Louisville, where we're inspired to provide resources for all entrepreneurs. Next slide, please. So for some of our key results in the fourth quarter, we really finished out a strong year. And if you can see between Amplify and our partner U of L, we served over 257 startups and founders with one-on-one meetings. We referred close to 200 of those to either internal partners at the state or our customer mentor partners across the region. And in the fourth quarter, there were 8 new businesses created with somewhere around 60 new jobs with those companies. Next slide, please. So we've had a lot of great startup wins in Louisville over the last quarter. But first, talk about some of our companies that made it in the pitch competitions. First, our annual Render Capital competition, where 8 winners received $100,000. And 3 of those companies were not from Kentucky. And as a part of that grant or the investment, I'm sorry, they have to spend time in Kentucky. A second, through Black Girl Ventures, Limitless, which is a RTBI AMP company, as well as a client of Amplify. Venture Connectors, Athelio Health was a winner of our Venture Sharks competition and is now moving to Louisville due to some of the support of Venture Connectors in our EIR program. And lastly, as Tony mentioned, the Bourbon Reverse Pitch Bio Products LLC was the winner of that. Our second win around accelerators, Broadloop was in the Techstars Heritage Group Accelerator. Repatient was recently selected to one of Village Capital's FinTech accelerators. And Reunion is in their second cohort, which is a national program that was brought to Louisville by NBA star Allen Houston. Next slide, please. And then on big wins capital rounds, I think as everyone's seen, it's been a strong year for investments in VC. Here's a list of Louisville companies that have received investment over the last year, and we're proud to say we've had contact with the majority of them and supporting them along the way. Next slide, please. Our event highlight for the fourth quarter was around the holidays. We did a Why Founder Wellness is Essential to Success. I think we all know the importance of mental health, not only during this time of the pandemic, but also as a startup founder. This was a wonderful event that was virtual. We had people from different parts of the country. And as you can see from our results summary, most importantly, you can come and see it. Just check out our YouTube channel, give it a look, and please send us any comments or feedback. Next slide, please. And lastly, an event preview for this upcoming quarter, getting access as an underrepresented founder. So as we support all of our entrepreneurs across the city, I think the important thing is acknowledging the roadblocks and challenges that underrepresented founders have. This will be a panel of different diverse founders. We schedule it for Mark right now, more details as we look to see the difference between in-person and virtual that really dictates all the panelists that can join us and what we can put on. Other than that, we're excited about how the fourth quarter went. I'm very excited about the first quarter of 22 already. I look forward to reporting on that in the next few months. Thank you, Lisa. I appreciate the time.
Great. Thank you so much, Larry. And now Garrett, if you'll unmute yourself, I'm happy to introduce you for the Lexington region, Garrett Farbach, who is Relationship and Education Director for Awesome Inc. And also in their region, their partners, UK Innovate and Base Here. Garrett?
Hey, Lisa, this is a great, cool format. Thanks for making this feel really professional. Also, Larry, stellar job. I'm going to take some of your slide layouts for our future updates. So a couple quick things. In Q4, again, like we said, we're the Lexington region with Awesome Inc., UK OTC, and Base Here. So we served almost 350 startups. Really, really proud of the way that our organizations are helping our community and really helping founders grow. A couple of numbers are actually incorrect on here, so I'm looking up above. So we've referred 75 startups. We had a couple of numbers that got miscommunicated. So 75 startups that we referred in Q4, and then 13 new businesses created with about 58 jobs. in Q4, and the Awesome Inc. Fellowship Program, and then UK OTC, we count this metric annually. So again, about 58 new jobs in Q4, which is really cool. Those are Kentucky people whose lives are being impacted. And then next slide, if you don't mind sharing that, please. Thanks so much. And then one of these big wins is going to be changed. But again, Awesome Fellowship raised $19 million plus this year. 80 and a half jobs have been created throughout the program. And then 8 startup companies have been accelerated to date. So really proud of the team here. And then more importantly, the founders in Kentucky that we're serving. And then the fall 2020 boot camp demo day for the Awesome InQ bootcamp program, we already have 9 of the 13 web developers that quit their job, whatever they're doing, and they've learned a new skill set. 9 of them have already been placed in Kentucky jobs, which is pretty awesome. And then instead of saying startup weekend, which was a great win, more importantly, LaunchBlue portfolio company and fellowship company Synaptech closed their seed stage funding round. And that's pretty awesome. So pretty pumped for them, a Lexington company, and then also just proud of the teams that are helping those. And then next slide as well. And then event highlights. A lot of you, I would say, were at this event. I know I got to see some of your wonderful faces there. But the Kentucky Entrepreneur Hall of Fame, we got back together. We had over 400 attendees, and we get to celebrate these 4 new entrepreneurs who've had amazing careers in our state. So Randy Bufford with Trilogy Health Services, Pat Lancaster of Lantec, and then Cal Turner Sr. and Jr., who have built the dollar generation to be what it is today. So we're pretty excited for them. And then last slide for Lexington. So Five Across is probably one of the most fun events I've been to in Lexington. And I can say that both biased and unbiased, but February 23rd, we're going to be back at the Lyric Theater. Would love for each of you to be there. And then a couple other reminders for some ongoing opportunities in Lexington. Number 1, startup weekend, or startup breakfast, excuse me, happens every Wednesday at 8 a.m. Thanks to the UK team that helps put that on. So please join us. And then LaunchBlue will be holding 2 special edition office hours. And then Base here is going to be having a new cultural series that's ongoing with local artists and musicians. So just helping our community be really involved. And again, that's it from Lexington. Thanks for the time. And yeah, thanks again for this new format. Feels really professional, Lisa.
Great. Thanks so much, Garrett. All right, we'll have David unmute himself. And I'd like to introduce on behalf of the Northern Kentucky region, David Schneider, who is the acting executive director for Blue North and their partners, Northern Kentucky University, Aviatra, and ARCA. So David, take it away.
I appreciate it, Lisa. And again, a nice format here. David Schneider, Center for Innovation Entrepreneurship at NKU, and as Lisa said, interim director with Zach Strobel. Zach's also involved in all this as we go through Blue North and try to make it even better. So as far as startups, 61 startups served Q4, 26 startups referred. We're looking at some other data on total businesses, but we're gathering that. Zach and I have just been doing this for about 60 days or so. So we're still new to collection of all the data and everything that we have going on here. So some of the big wins, we have Isaiah Kelly and Elizabeth Strout, who both are NKU alums. They were named 5 under 25 by Cincinnati Inno, both kind of rock stars in their businesses and growing their businesses. So we're really proud of that in the region. And SoCap Accelerate, they're in their 3rd cohort now. And as of today, they're about $1.7 million raised. These are women and minority-led companies. They do a great job. They usually have 6 or 7 in a cohort, and these companies do well. They raise money at the end, and again, it's mostly targeted to women and minority-led companies. So Rico Grant is the person that runs that and is doing a great job, and we're working with them fairly closely. NKU's working with them, and so is the whole collaborative. So some big wins. For Aviatra, again, I just want to mention, I think Nancy's on the call. Nancy runs Aviatra there in Covington, and they just celebrated their 10th anniversary, by the way. So she's been doing this for a little while and had extreme success. These are women started startup companies, and this is just one example of some of the great success that Nancy has at Aviatra. So her businesses center around the culinary things and restaurant and things. So she's done from startup to 12 full-time employees and 20 part-time employees in just one of the companies. So we feel that's a great win and great for the community. So demo day was November 18th for the cohort, the last cohort in Q4. And, you know, they, again, they're just they're a great job. They know how to connect. SOCAP can connect people to the next stage where they have to get, they either have to add people to their team or they're trying to raise money or whatever they're trying to do. So they're doing a great job in the community. And they have a cohort just opening up. So they do it twice a year, spring and fall. So what's events coming up? We've got a Mated series, which is hosted by the people listed there: Aviatra, Blue North, Covington Business Council, Renaissance Covington, and NKU. That's February 15th, coming up in Q1.
Okay, thank you so much, David. Appreciate your update. And now
Thanks.
we'll have Buddy unmute himself. And it's my pleasure to introduce Buddy Steen, who's Programs Director with the Central Region Innovation and Commercialization Center. They represent Bowling Green and the Elizabethtown region, and with their partner, Western Kentucky University. Buddy?
Yeah, thanks, Lisa. I'm really happy to be here. Our slide formats don't seem to have kind of come through, but nevertheless, would like to say this last quarter, I feel like that it's been sort of a bit of a slow quarter in terms of the numbers. 37 startups served here, 95 on the half year. The startups referred, this is something we do naturally, probably several a day, but we haven't really figured out the tricks to getting them into our database. So we're still working on that, but having a really good connection in terms of the ecosystem. I mean, we created a virtual management organization with multiple people that work, intimately with companies. In fact, a couple of companies, one from Louisville and one from Lexington, we're excited about how that plays and helps everyone create and grow and recruit and retain companies. We also have a 285,000 square foot facility here that we focus on transforming when we need to facilitate the mission to create opportunities and jobs. I mean, we reported 67 jobs in our last survey for the first 2 quarters, which is amongst the highest in the state. And quite frankly, we had 208 more that I need to audit a bit, but the total jobs here is about 275 jobs, if you count Bowling Green and Elizabethtown. So we're really focused on opportunities and jobs, and it's going quite well. Also connecting to expert services, some expert intellectual property counsel. We share this capability with companies in Louisville and Lexington and with ours, and we're just excited about how many assets that are being put together. And Tony's right. I mean, this is a really good time for the state. Especially for Bowling Green. I mean, we're a Mid-South economy now. The talent base is growing, and we're doing everything we can to pull that world-class talent in. We actually transformed a part of our facility with 30,000 square feet for a remote worker, self-employed, creative class professionals, engineers, and we're going to be launching that in a couple of months. Tony also mentioned Sam Ford. Sam you'll get to know him. He'll probably be doing most of the presentations in the future. We're very, very lucky to have him. He's our onboard storyteller, cultural enhanced person, and he's needed. So anyway, one new business created. I'd like to talk about that. The WKU Research Foundation actually created a for-profit company, and it's designed to commercialize technologies and keep them regionally. So we again probably have more new business created in our area, and we will do a lot better job in the future kind of pulling those. We're just kind of getting ourselves going. Next slide, please. Yep. In terms of biggest wins, we have a Kentucky Thermal Institute that started with one person. They have expanded, continue to expand. They just were in 750 square feet and expanded to 1,500 square feet. This is the magic of your small business physical accelerators, where you have 300 and 600 and 1,200 and 2,400 and 5,000 square feet for companies to just continue to flow and grow. And that's what we're all about. We're about growing science technology companies and keeping them here. The last startup win would be the confidential. This is a confidential transaction, so I can't talk about the details, but we really want to mention that, you know, as companies grow and they're successful and they're in the market, then sometimes they do very, very well. And they're in this company actually just closed a very, very large M&A and in the 8-figure range. So right here, in our facility. So next slide, please. We were bold, and in November we had the Summit of the South. This was an in-person event. We had it in our very, very large common area here at the Center for Research and Development Innovation Campus at Western, and it was a success. It was our first Summit of the South, first of many. We'll have another one of these in-person events next year, God willing, and we had some fantastic speakers. I mean, one of them flew in just to speak and then flew back out. So we're very pleased with having the network and those kind of events. And then we've got some things coming up. Next slide. We have a startup garden that just took place. And it turns out the Modern Heritage Farm, Lisa Williams is doing a great job with her startup gardens. She has tremendous response. I think she said they had 30 or 40 people at this last one. And we just continue to have these monthly startup garden events where we're bringing together networking. We have entrepreneurs speak, and the next one's going to be in Bowling Green at the Indian Hills Country Club. And we're looking forward to that on February 23rd. So I believe that's it.
Great. Thanks so much, Buddy. And we'll have Monica unmute herself. And it's my pleasure to introduce to all of you Monica Bilak, who is Executive Director of Grow West and founder of Sprocket, one of their partners, along with Murray State and the Kentucky Innovation Station. And they represent Paducah and the Madisonville and Murray area. Monica?
Hey everybody, thank you. Wonderful format. Yeah, we'll just jump into it. So our key results here. So this has been a busy quarter one because we just opened our space in December. So I'm just happy we got any startups or just building a building, and moving in was fantastic, and people just flowed in, so it's been great. To let you know what goes behind these numbers a little bit is we have some workflows that are kind of important to what we do. One is called a First 50K, and that's where we recruit companies into our community to come and start a business, or actually they're usually mid-stage, and so they're going to grow their business in West Kentucky. The other one is the West Kentucky Innovation Challenge, and I'll share a little bit about some companies that have come out of that. That's a pre-accelerator that we ran last year, thanks to some funds from the USDA. And then in each of our spaces, Murray, Madisonville, and Paducah, we host local events. Next slide. So here's a little bit about some of the wins that we had with a few of our companies in different communities. So Cubrix is one of our first 50K participants, and they are a no-code blockchain platform. We do a lot in the blockchain space over here. We do a lot in cybersecurity over here. And so they kind of work really nicely together. If you've heard anything about what's going on in West Kentucky, there's also a lot of Bitcoin mining. So there's some really good intersections here. Cubrix is one of those companies. They just signed a contract with UBS to work on some scope for blockchain with them, as well as a really cool project. If you're really into NFTs, check out Stand Up for Unity. Cubrix is a sponsor of that as well and helping them. Mad City Crafters is in Madisonville. they just opened actually a storefront. So what you're going to see in Madisonville, some of the companies coming out of there are going to be from a makerspace environment. They have both a co-work space and a makerspace, but this is a really cool example of what can happen when you have some fabrication facilities and people can just actually make actual products. So we're happy for them. The third big win is something called Seed Stories. This company is just getting started. We have been working with them, actually known them for a while. This is a local farmer in our community that does organic farming, and the amount of reporting for organic farming is overwhelming. And so this is an attempt to take those organics, all the data and all that you have to have, and kind of make it nice and easy and light. And so he's going to roll out his MVP this month at a growers conference. Very excited for that. So that came out of our West Kentucky Innovation Challenge. All right, next slide. And this is our space. Come visit us anytime. We opened on December 2nd officially, and half of our offices are filled now. I even have one tick up since I wrote this slide deck, and we have 2 more members. So there you go. We're just rocking and rolling. We have a big open space. We're in an old Coca-Cola bottling factory, and so it looks pretty factory-like, and we just kind of plopped in some offices in the middle there, and they're lovely, and it's been really great for building community, something we really needed. So thank you to our all of our partners. Everybody made it happen. We couldn't have ever done this without the support of not only our local partners that funded just the construction, but our operations were through Kentucky Innovation. This would never have happened without you guys. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Next slide. And this is what's coming up. So we will have an open community co-work, as well as, yes, we are still open to anybody who was impacted by the tornadoes that rolled through here recently. So we've got some great support for that as well from some local partners. I'll be doing a Vetting Your Biz Idea tomorrow. And back again is our talent development piece. So we will run adult code labs, and those are going to expand. This is in Madisonville, Hopkinsville, and Paducah. And we're just excited about this because a lot of the folks who go through these programs actually help build. So you saw Seed Story. That was actually helped. We had actually some folks from our full stack programs helping build some of that technology. So it's a boost. We have to do all the things here, and it's been a great quarter. Thank you.
Great. Thanks so much, Monica. And now, last but certainly not least, I'd like to introduce Sabrina McWhorter, who's Manager of Business and Innovation for SOAR, and they represent the Eastern Kentucky Appalachian region. And if you weren't aware, that's about 54 counties. So go ahead and take it away, Sabrina.
Good morning, everybody. Lisa, thank you again for compiling these slides like this. This is an excellent format. As Lisa mentioned, my name is Sabrina McWhorter. I'm the Manager of Business and Innovation for SOAR, or Shaping Our Appalachian Region. And she hit the nail on the head. We cover 54 ARC mandated counties in Eastern Kentucky. So I'm excited to report to you our key results for Q4. So we served 318 startups. You can see some pictures there of some of them. You can go ahead and go to the next slide. We had 62 startups referred. That was to resource partners outside of our network. Next slide, please. 8 new businesses created. We had about 129 jobs created with the addition of the new businesses plus some of our startups. You can go ahead and go to the next slide, please. So getting into the big startup wins, in Laurel County, we had some notable progress with the completed KADF, Kentucky Agricultural Development Fund application for a project with Alliance Packaging Plant based in Laurel County with Cornett Farms. This is a potential $1 million investment with 30 full-time jobs, so we're really excited looking at 2022 for that to progress. In Carter County, Kentucky, we had First Light Home Care of Eastern Kentucky. They grew their revenue 30%, and it's on pace to hit 1.5 million. I'm sure during our next hub quarterly, you'll get to hear the impact of that in revenue. And they, because of their growth, were able to hire 12 new employees. And then in Pike County, AppCycled, which you saw their storefront a slide back, they have grown their business, allowing them to make their first 2 hires, which is really incredible for a small business. They were able to hire a social media expert, and then they also were able to host their very first event, which was a shop and sip during a holiday live music, refreshments, and crafts. And that was just a really amazing event in downtown Pikeville. You can go to next slide. So event highlights. The 2021 SOAR Summit was incredible this year. For most of you that were probably there, if you weren't, I definitely encourage you to come to the 2022 SOAR Summit. You won't want to miss it. Last year's was held October 13th and 14th in Corbin, when we broke some records right in the middle of a pandemic. So that was really incredible. 1,420 attendees, 105 exhibitors, and we had a lot of students in the room, which was really incredible. We also had our 2021 Startup Appalachia Pitch Competition, where we had 7 startups that were selected as finalists, and a record 29 startups applied for that competition, which was really cool. Top 3 were Walleye Solutions. You can see pictured there, that's Billy Brown. He won $7,000. Integrated DX took home 2nd place, and Community Treatment Tracking Solutions took 3rd place. So that was a really great day. And then Billy was able to actually throw his pitch on the summit stage in front of everyone, and it was very well received. You can go ahead and go to next slide. And then looking forward, we're doing something new this year, and we're really excited about it. We are going to have a SOAR mini summit. So our first ever mini summit is going to be held in Ashland, Kentucky, right here close to me, and I'm super excited. So this is going to be all about tourism and downtown revitalization. You can see we've got incredible breakout sessions, and if you're real tech savvy, just snap a pic of that QR code. It'll take you right to the registration. There's a great deal going on right now for early bird special. But we have some incredible breakout sessions. We have a lot more to come. We'll be doing some announcements, and we really encourage you to head over to Ashland in March and spend some time with us. And I think that's the last slide.
Terrific. Thanks so much, Sabrina.
Thank you.
And now I'm going to have Terry go ahead and unmute himself. I know that he's kind of in transit, but still with us. And Terry Samuel is president of KSTC, and he's going to speak briefly about KSTC and, importantly, the partnership with Kentucky Innovation. Terry?
Yes, good morning, everybody. So first of all, I'd like to give a quick shout out to Lisa and Megan. Great job on the first of these public hub huddles. And so just a big thank you to the 2 of you. I'll just have one slide. I'm just going to show you a quick overview of KSTC. For those of you not familiar, and I appreciate Tony's great introduction at the beginning, but KSTC is a statewide nonprofit that works closely with KY Innovation. Together, we design and implement programs across Kentucky. A big part of our role is to work with the 6 hubs that you just heard from. We listen to those hubs, we support them. The referrals that they talk about, some of those come through KSTC or to KSTC. And our job is to make sure that total network statewide is working well. We often direct startup companies to other hubs. Their clients to state, federal, or private resources. And on the screen, I just want to briefly touch on the 6 programs that are highlighted here. They range anywhere from a K-12 program to a program that is working with established companies. I'm not going to go through each of those, just to give you all an introduction. Go to kstc.com. You can click on any of those and get more of a sense of them, but they're all there to serve the hubs and to serve the startup community across Kentucky. What I would say is you don't have to necessarily remember KSTC. What you need to do is remember your hubs. So if you are a founder out there and you're looking, go to your local hub, work with them, and they will connect you into the programs at KSTC. Thanks. And again, thanks to Megan and Lisa for getting this all set up.
Great. Thanks so much, Terry. We'll go to the next slide. And just want to make everybody aware who's attending today. We'd certainly love to have more folks join us for the next quarterly update, which we'll plan for April. And that update from each of the hubs will cover first quarter of this year. So January through March, we'll have that in April, and we'll get that date out to you. Of course, you can always visit kyinnovation.com for further information, and you can actually link to each of our innovation hubs from there as well. And then just a housekeeping, we have been recording this webinar, and we will make this the link to access that available so that anybody can review the information or share that information. And again, we'd love to have more of our colleagues join us for the next. We'll move to the next slide, and just wanted to check in. Tony, anything else you wanted to add?
Nope, just thank you very much for being here. We look forward to continuing these updates in the future, and keep up the great work, team.
Great. Thanks so much, everyone. Look forward to seeing you in April. Bye.
Thank you.
Wow.